Hello everyone, I'm Zishansha and welcome to zinteractive. So in lesson 5, we will learn how to create some primitive and how to adjust pivot point in 3D Studio Max. So let's start and make some primitives.
Stop!
Hello everyone, so let's start now and we'll start with this new lesson which is about how to save files and how to make primitives objects inside 3D Studio Max. So saving file is quite simple, okay? So if you're saving a normal file for a very small project which does not have any kind of textures or material or any kind of reference, so simple, you can go to file, save that. You can go to save as, okay, you can choose your folder, you can write the name of that file, or then you can press save and it will be saved, okay. So and then you can share it with someone, but that is good only if you're using it for a very small project file like a lesson file which I usually upload for you guys. So for that it's okay because it does not have any kind of texture or any other thing. But what if you have a complete project, okay, which have also shaders, which also have projects, which also have like basically reference files, which have also texture files and other things. So in that case, we cannot just save one file and and we are done. We should have a structure based folder, okay, that have everything inside. So if you want to give your whole file to someone, you just give that folder to him. So there will be no issues. Otherwise, if you will just give a file, then what will happen? Maybe the shader will be missing, references will be missing, materials will be missing. So like that, okay. So let's see how to make that structure-based whole project file. Okay, let me simple make boxes or any other thing here, okay, so that at least we have some objects here. Now I have these objects and suppose I want to now go to file and make like a project folder, okay. To make a project folder, I have to go to project, okay, and then I have to set up a project folder. So file, project, then I have to create default, okay. Now if I create default, it will ask me which folder you want to be a default folder for your project. So on my desktop, I have created already a folder which is empty at the moment, my project, there is nothing inside. So I will select this and select the folder. And when I select that, this folder will become my default folder. So if I go to file, save as, because this file is not saved yet, because I didn't save it yet. So now if I will go to file, save as, okay, so you can see that there is a folder made called scenes inside the folder which I made my projects 2020, okay. So remember, if you rewind or skip back to this video and see the project which I the folder which I selected, my project 2020 was an empty folder, okay. So when I went to the project like here and then I went to the create default, it did what? It create a project with the default folder structure. So now that folder is has become my structure. So if I will go to file and save as, it will go in the scenes because now 3D Studio Max is counting my project 2020 as my complete project folder, and whenever you save files, the files are saved in the scenes folders. That's why I'm in the scene folder. So if I will write here the name of the file like 2 objects, okay, whatever I want the name, it will be saved. Now this folder will remain my project folder until I change it or create a new one, okay. So let's go to the folder and let's see. So this is a folder which was created my project 2020, which was empty, but when I selected and created as a default project folder, now you can see all of these files, all these folders are being made, okay. If I will save any kind, if I will import anything, it will automatically go in the import folder. If I will render anything, it will go automatically in the render output. If I will preview anything, it will go back in the preview folder. If I will make any shader, any texture, it will go in the material library. So automatically things will be done for you, so you don't have to worry about. So next time if your friend wants, or anyone, your teacher wants your files or anything, you can just take this my folder project 2020, zip it and send them, and they can unzip it, and then everything will be there. You don't have to worry about if something is missing or not. Okay, so very easy to do this, and always try to organize your files and organize the scene, and always make a folder whenever you're doing for each project. Okay, so this is basically, if it's a series of the project, so keep it project 2020, keep on saving files in this. So once you are making a new folder or some new projects, then you can change it to a new folder. Okay, so that's how we can make folders, and we can make project folders. So let's move to the next part, which you all are waiting for, and that is how to create primitive inside the 3D Studio Max. Now, to create primitives, objects inside the 3D Studio Max, you have different ways. One is you can go to the create option on the top, choose the standard primitive, you can make any one of these, or extended primitive, you can choose any one of these. Okay, or you can go directly to the command panel, and then you can go in the create option. In the create option, you have two different ways, like this, like in this, you have two different ways to make primitive: standard or extended. Standard means like normals, extended are a little bit vast. Okay, so I can go to this drop down menu here, and I can choose standard or extended. So standard, if I will choose, it will give me standard like basic ones, and if I will go to the extended, it will give me some advanced one. So let's go to the standard one. Now in the standard, I can see I have box, sphere, cylinder, tube. All of them have their own settings. They are not made in the same way. They are made differently. Box will be different than sphere. Sphere will be different than cylinder. Let's make a box first. If I click on the box, now I have two ways to make it. Interactively, by dragging my mouse over the viewports, or I can use the keyboard entry, write the coordinates, okay, like what we studied in the last lesson. Okay, 0, 0, 0 means it will be in the center, and write the size. Maybe I will type it here, 50 centimeters, 50 centimeter, 50 centimeter. By the way, as I told you last time, that centimeter is basically the unit which is already set up. But what if I don't want 50 centimeters, I want it 100 meters. So I have to go here in the customize in the unit setup and change it. But it takes time. So shortcut is, I can go here and write 100 m, means 100 meters. So when I press enter, okay, or move to the next option, like suppose without pressing enter, I will move to the next width. So what will happen? That 100 meter will turn into, you can say, 10,000 centimeter, because it calculated and made the 100 meter into 10,000 centimeters. So it calculates it. So it becomes easier. You can just type your unit, whatever you want. So for suppose inches, I can type 1 here and type IN for inches. And if I go to the next option, so you can see it is now changed. Okay, so this is what you can do that. Okay, but I will keep it basically 50 centimeter. And then simple, I can press, oops, not 50. Okay, and if I will press create, so it will create on the screen, the box. So this is how you can do with the keyboard entry. But if you don't want to do the keyboard entry, you can simply make it interactively on your viewport. Okay, now we have been working in the perspective viewport from the first class, but I prefer you use only perspective viewport just to see how your render will look like as a viewport, because sometimes it confuses you, it gives you illusion, which we will discuss in this lesson also. Okay, so whenever you want to create something, try to create it from the orthographic viewports, like from these three, any one of these three. So best one to create the box, if I'm creating, is from the top viewport. Okay, like this. So I will make first what I'm doing is that I'm clicking and dragging, and it's making a base. So as soon the base is ready, I will leave my mouse button, but still it is activated. Now I'm not pressing any button, I'm just moving my mouse up and down. So you can see that it's making a height. Now if I will click, so now the box is ready, okay, because I'm in the box mode. If I'm in the cube mode, so it's quite different. If I delete this and try to make the box with the cube mode on, you can see that it directly makes without making the base first. So directly it makes a cube, because in cube all the sides are same. So it's up to you, choose cube or box. I will stick to the box. Okay, so this is how you can do that. Okay, this is how you will make it. Base first, then the height first. Also, if you want to make anything like any primitives from the center, like from the 0, 0, 0, okay, so you have to press Control on your keyboard and press from the center, and then you can have this. Okay, so this is how you can also do that. Okay, so basically it will make a perfect square, okay, like a cube, and then you leave it, and then you can make a rectangle or something like that. Okay, so the base will be perfect cube if you're pressing Control on your keyboard, but the height you can keep it whatever you want. So this is a different way to do that. So once you are done, you can still go down, change it whatever you want, okay, and you can move it from here, okay, whatever you want. And then if you want to change it again, you can come, but oops, the whole setting is gone. Now how I can change it? A moment ago it was there. When I started to move my box and I came back here to change it, now it is gone. Actually, it's not gone. What happens is that whenever you are creating an object, you can instantly change it. But when you do some kind of other changes, it's gone from the create mode and it moves to the modify. So from create, I will move to modify, because if you want to modify anything, any of your object, you have to go to the modify. So when you go to the modify, then you can have these options. You can change this width, the length, the height. Then there are segments, but segments we will move to when we will start learning the polygonal modeling. Right now you don't have to worry about the segments. Okay, so now I can go back here and create something else. So I will delete this by pressing delete button on my keyboard, and I can make a cone. Now cone, first you can make a base. A base will be made. Step 1. Step 2, now my mouse left button is not pressed. It's making height. When I press, okay, my mouse left button, so it does not look like a cone, but you will notice still I am in this cone creation mode. So still I'm not done. This is step 3. Now step 3, you can give the you can say the cap radius, okay, like suppose the top radius, like this. Now it's done. So how many steps? 3 steps, and you are done with the your cone. Okay, sphere is more easier. You can have one sphere just like that on the screen. Okay, now torus is basically gives you like a donut shape. One step. Second step, it gives you the inner radius. Okay, how yummy you want your donut to be. Okay, more fluffy, more yummy, but maybe, you know, there are some bubbles inside it, so it's like air filled without having a cream filled. Okay, I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, so number of steps are different for each objects. Now if I will move from standard to extended primitives, so these are a little bit, you can say, advanced. Now I have here chamfer box. Chamfer basically architectural term, or you can say in term related to engineering, where your corners are a little bit smooth. Okay, so what is the difference between standard box, standard primitives box, and extended primitives chamfer box? So if I will take the chamfer box from here, okay, now remember extended primitives, all these are advanced. Okay, I can create a base. Okay, it's fine, easy right now. Okay, I can create the height, same as we were doing in the standard primitive box. Okay, and now I will press. So this is done. But what if I move my mouse? You can see the corners are getting smoother or sharper. Okay, so that means 3 steps. So in extended primitives, you have extended steps. If a box can be made in 2 steps in the standard primitive, a box can be made in 3 steps in the extended primitives, because it advances the third steps give you the smoothness. So that's why you have different shapes and different like different primitives and different ways to create them. So I want you all to try all of them, try to see them, and then you can go to their modify option, and then you can see that I can increase the length of this, width of this, okay, height of this, and there is one more thing which is fillet over here, okay, which is the smoothness of the corners. So you can change the fillet also. So as all the objects have different ways to create them, they have different modification parameters also. Okay, so this is how these are being made. So now you know how to make these primitives. The second thing which you have here, which I want to tell you, is the pivot. Can you see this? This is basically the pivot which was helping you to move your objects, okay, or to rotate your objects, or to scale your objects. Okay, so this pivot is customizable, okay, and every pivot helps you to move in a certain mode of direction. Okay, what is the certain mode of direction? Right now I'm moving this box in a view mode of direction. So if I will go here, I have these modes here. At the point I'm in the view mode, means the view of my you can say the viewport. Okay, I have here screen, okay, which is the screen mode, means like flat angle. So if you will see that I am viewing from this screen, so it looks flat. Can you see that? Top, left and right. Okay, but the same pivot, if you will see now in these orthographics views, they are not the same. The reason is that because the screen mode, the screen mode is from the perspective. It's not from these. If I will go to left viewport, okay, and then if my screen mode is on, so you can see that now it has become pretty normal. If I will go back to the perspective viewport and select it, now they are kind of rotated. What if I change my camera, like my camera angle, and move it down? So you will see that still it looks flat, okay, but here it's quite changed. So whatever angle I'm changing, it's keeping my pivot, okay, flat to that view. Okay, is it clear? So that's the screen. Now world, basically the world depends on your 3D world. Okay, so this 3D world is basically in this way. The x-axis of this world is here, z-axis is here, the x is here, the y is here. What if I flip this? So for example, if I flip this one just like this, okay, now my z-axis of the world is now pointing downward, because I'm upside down, okay, and my y is here. Now my x is here. So I can go back by simply clicking home, and I'm back to my regular viewport. Okay, so this is the world. Now parent, if you have parent-child relationship, so for that purpose, now local is really important. Now what is the local? Local is basically depending on your object's pivot point, not the world pivot point. Now my object, if I'm moving here in this direction, so you can see that I'm able to move it like my object on the object's actual pivot point. So let's see one thing here. If I rotate this, okay, in this way, and move it here, and then go to my moving tool, So you can see that the pivot is sticked to my, it's kind of my, pivot is kind of stuck to my object. So my object is rotated actually. So the pivot is also rotated because pivot is stuck to the object. So now if I move it, it will go in the direction of the object. That's what local is. But if I will change it to world, okay, now it is changed because now it is relative to my world's axis, not my object's axis. So if I want my object's axis, then I can go to the local. Okay, so this is quite good if you want to work on object's direction. Sometimes you work on the world, sometimes you work on the local. Depending on how you want to work, you can choose that. Okay, so it's all about that. Now gimbal is basically like a gimbal ball. Okay, so whatever direction you will move it, it's like a, like a gimbal ball or something. It actually works fine for rotation purposes, just like this one. Okay, it's good for rotation. And then we have a grid. Okay, grid is basically relative to the grid. So if I go to the moving, so it's basically relative to the grid which is down here. Now you have the working one, which is basically when you're working on any kind of polygonal modeling or something. Local aligned, if you have aligned your object to any other thing. Okay, so I will keep it world. Okay, and then from here we can move on. So this is how you can create objects, and you can change your orientation, your object orientation modes from here. Okay, now what if I am in the local, okay, and you can see that my pivot is at the bottom. Okay, now my x-axis is fine, my y-axis is fine, z-axis is fine, but I want the z-axis not at the bottom. Okay, like if I will go to this viewport, oops, this should be front, so I will press F. Okay, now if I will go here, okay, so you can see that the z-axis is on the bottom. Here also you can see that in the standard. I want the z-axis to be on the top. So what I can do in this way, how to manipulate or transform your pivot. To do that, you have to use this hierarchy option. You go on the hierarchy option, okay, and inside the hierarchy option, you will see here you have affect pivot only. So what it do is that it allow you to manipulate or transform your pivot only. So if I click on affect pivot only, so you can see that my pivot icon is being changed, and now whatever changes I will do will be based on that pivot. So I want to move it up, okay, somewhere here, okay, but it's quite hard to move it exactly on my object now because it is away from my object. So what is the best way to do that? The best way to do is I have here an option which is called select and place. So if I will click on select and place, so I can easily move this, okay, on my any part of the object, and it will be aligned to that part on a flat angle, like suppose top. And then once I'm done, okay, and suppose it is not in the center, so what I can do is that I can click here center to object, and it will go in the center of that object. Okay, so now it is in the center of the object, but I don't want it to be in the center. I want to be center from the top. So simply what I can do is that I can go to the move mode, okay, and move it up until I get it on the top, just like this. Okay, and when I'm done, I can just simply click affect pivot only again, and now I'm in the normal mode. So if I will if I will go back to this option now, you can see that my pivot is on the top rather than being on the bottom. So whatever I will do changes, it will happen from the top. Okay, so you can see that. So let me give you a good example of this, how it works. Okay, let's go and make a box from the front angle here. Now let me move it on the top here, and you can see that this is my box from all the angles. Now maybe this is a door, and I want to open the door. Now opening and closing the door, always it's from either this end or this end, because this is the end that have hinges. So if I will go to rotate and try to rotate, it will rotate from the middle, which is not right. Okay, the reason is this rotating from the middle because my pivot is here in the middle, but I don't want the pivot to be here. I want the pivot to be here. So what I can do in this way is that I can go to my move mode, hierarchy, affect pivot only, and once I do that, I can move my pivot exactly over here, but sometimes it's not exactly there. So what you need to do is that you have to snap here. To do the snapping, you have to turn on the snap toggle, and when you do that, it will help you to snap. But to snap what? To snap to this edge. Okay, so what you need to do is that you have to double click the snap option or right click here. Okay, and I want to snap it, okay, to a bounding box, you can say, because this can be a bounding box or it can be an edge. Basically it's an edge, so I will keep it edge. Okay, and I will close this. Now if I move it, you can see that it snaps to the edge, so I exactly know this is where I want it to be. And then I can turn off my snapping, I can turn off my affect pivot only, and then now if I will rotate it, you can see that because the pivot is not in the center anymore, it is moved on this corner. So now it is opening and closing like a door. Okay, so this is why you want to move your pivot points. So this is one of the examples why moving a pivot point is important in some cases, and how a movement of a pivot point can change your whole animation process or any other thing. Okay, now let me tell you one last thing here which is really important, and quickly I will tell you. I will make some of the objects here, okay, like a teapot or something, and then I will go here on this viewport, and then let's do one thing. I want to place this teapot on the top of this cylinder, and this cylinder should be on the top of this box. So first let me put this cylinder on the top of this box. Okay, let me move it here like this. Now it is on the top of this box. Looks good, looks like it's top on the box. Then I will put it here on the top of this cylinder. Okay, okay, good. So this is what I wanted. I wanted the teapot on the top of the cylinder on the top of the box. So looks good. And I did all this from the perspective viewport. Okay, but if I orbit around, can you see how it looks like? It's all wrong. That's why perspective viewports always will give you illusion of that you are doing something. It's whatever you're doing is right. So that's why it's not recommended to use perspective viewport in many cases. So If you're expert and you know the whole concept of the viewports and how the coordinate system works, how the gaps works, then it's fine. Okay, you can work on perspective viewports after 1 year of practice, or 6 months of practice, or more than that or less than, depending on how fast you're catching it up. But always try your best not to use the perspective viewport, use the orthographic viewports. Okay, now what is the best viewport to put this cylinder on the top of this box? Okay, so maybe the front, I can put it, okay, and I can put it here. Now it will not be exactly over here. I can use the align tool to do that, or I can toggle the snap. I can go to snap, right click it, use edge. Okay, so this edge will be snapped to this edge. Okay, fine, fair enough. So I can go here, I can click on this edge and drag on this edge. Good, right? So this is fine, and then I can change it. Okay, from left angle, it's quite confusing for me. Okay, so what I will do, I will skip the left angle, then I will go to the top angle. Now on the top viewport, you can see that I can see this cylinder. It's not in the middle of this box. So easily from the top viewport, I can move it just like that. So easy. Now, if you will see in the perspective viewport, exactly it is on the top. Now let's do same thing with the teapot. So if I will take the teapot here, okay, and then I will toggle this. Okay, now I will take the flat angle here, because teapot is not flat, completely flat from the bottom, so the whole thing is not edge, only small part is the edge, but still it can help me. So I will put it down here, uncheck this snapping. Okay, now I can move it in the middle from the top viewport, and now if I will go here, make it bigger, Alt W, and zoom in and then orbit around, and you can see everything is set up as if it's like accurate, very precisely. Everything is sitting on top of each other. Now you can do the alignment to put them in the middle or whatever you want. You can use snapping, but this is how you use your orthographic views. This is why orthographic views are more important than the perspective viewports. Some perspective viewports sometimes give you, illusions and those kind of things. So I hope you have now understood how to save the files and to create a like a scene project folder. Okay, always try to do that so that it will help you to keep everything organized. Okay, then how to create simple primitives, standard primitives. Okay, and advanced primitives, which is the extended primitives. Then how the pivot points work, how to make your objects bigger and smaller, or modifying them, how you can modify them. So these kind of things you can simply do with your like primitives objects. Okay, so we will have a lesson in like next coming up lessons. We will use the standard primitives with the combination of extended primitives and try to create simple you can say like furniture items. Okay, so guys, until then, see you and take care. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed it. Don't forget to click on the bell icon, and please give me watch time hours. Watch my videos from starting till end, because there are a lot of important things between the lessons. Okay, and always watch it online, because if you will download my videos, it will create problems for me, because I will not get the watch hour times, and that means I will not get enough views and I will not be able to monetize my videos. Okay, so please watch it till the end online without downloading it. And thanks for your support, and guys, take care, stay safe, and see you in the next lesson.